the government of India is asked to a DRDO. Already we know very well that was a Kargil war. At that time, for flying bomb, the government of India is asked to a DRDO. Then they are designed one UAV with the speed of it will be hit the target with the speed of 250 kilometers per hour. These are all the from the early days onwards we are calling it as an UAV. Now everybody they are calling it as a drone. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, very good. Now, basically, two types of UAVs are there. First one is rotary wing. Second one is a mixed wing. The rotary wing is also called as vehicle takeoff and landing type of UAV. It was the purpose of surveillance and surveying purpose. But the disadvantage of these rotary type of UAV is the shorter battery life, but cannot detect the multiple points from the. So the rotary wing, the problem is cannot detect at a time the multiple points. So it is a failing to detect multiple points. But if you go for the fixed wing, there is having a advantage a long battery life. It is a better use for area also to detect the multiple points. But the problem is launching problem, takeoff and landing problems. So for depends on application, we are going to choose a type of UAV. Next slide, please. So let them, we will see the different types of various applications in India, totally divided into 6 categories based on the solutions. We will go for the first one is agriculture. Already we know the agriculture purpose is completion of a plant count, calculation of fair crop loss percentage, crop supervision, crop maintenance. If you come to the second application, like energy and utilities, like the power transmission lines, surveying purpose, and like what we call is a monitoring purpose, site monitoring purpose. Now, in case of infrastructure, industrial inspection point of view, a land audit, town planning, site management, like that, we are going to utilize for the 3 applications. If you come for mining application, the mining application, the best thing, because directly we cannot go there in mining, and because they're having a big hills or maybe. So in that case, to measure the infrastructure of particular mining place, to inspect that infrastructure, and also thermal imaging point of view, terrain mapping purpose, and same as a media and entertainment application. Everybody today's entertainment purpose. Now to covering the entertainment point of view, like we can say, like the big movie like Bahubali. If they want to do like such type of big movies, they have to use for making the movie in good way to show the particular movie. So in that case, UAV also is the best device, and media applications like to detect the aerial documentary purpose, aerial photography. Now next, if you come to the insurance, like insurance means in a particular land, agricultural land, that is if you want to measure the damage inspection purpose. So like that, various different applications are there. As per the solutions, we have divided the 6 segments like that. Let them see one by one the various applications. The second slide, please. Next. If you go for the application of UAV land surveying to measure to detect the terrain, like a geographic information system, to detect a particular region of the land for the land surveying applications. Next, please. Environmental studies. Environmental studies like forests, like to detect the deforestation, coastal erosion, wildlife, like to count the number of animals, animal counting. Next application, civil engineering applications. Next slide, please. Civil engineering applications like to measure infrastructure and inspection, like what is the condition of bridge, what is the status of present cell tower problems, if any occur, then we can measure. Then power lines already mentioned, like feasibility survey, transportation routes, and mining to measure the volume calculation. Next slide, please. Next, humanitarian efforts like disaster mapping, like hazard monitoring. Next, emergency delivery. I think last month back, Maharashtra government suggested to deliver the medicine in this COVID-19, deliver the medicine through drone. Already that government is announced. So that program was a success in the Maharashtra. Next slide, please. Next, application of UAV, real estate, construction management, already I told you, and marketing. Next slide, please. Applications of UAV. If you come to the best thing is in agriculture, crop monitoring, chemical application, land management, like the various applications are there. Next slide, please. Drones finding the application in agriculture, because the main research in our India is agriculture, like to measure the crop monitoring, soil assessment, plant emerging and population harvest, crop production and fertility, like insurance, like details of cloud measurement in a particular agricultural land, irrigation and drainage system. So these main points I'm going to discuss about agriculture, because if we design or if we think one device, that device should be useful to the society. So we discussed the number of applications and all, but we are going to concentrate on more on agriculture, like to measure these all type of applications. Go to the next slide, please. So in AP, Andhra Pradesh government also, they are announced farmers health point of view, they are suggest to utilize the UAV or drone for fertilizing the for fertilization purpose. Present in Andhra Pradesh, some farmers are utilizing that these type of drones, but few peoples, because the now its cost is very high, the approximately an 30 to 70,000 cost. But it is a huge cost as per the farmer point of view, because farmer want to fertilize the liquid 3 to 5 times. So, but if the farmer is having more than 5 acres land, it is best. Go to the next one. Yes. So this is the we are going to propose in the department pesticide for spraying the liquid pesticide 15 liters with the liters of 15 liters quantity liquid. For that one capacity, the minimum 5 to 15 liters. The standard operating payload with 15 kgs. The maximum spray speed is 0.45 liter per minute. Spray width of the liquid is 6 to 7 meters in agricultural land. The maximum area cover up to the 10 across per hour. But nowadays, the farmers, if they are using the spray machine, normal machines without drone, they will take for 10 across 5 to 6 hours of time. But if they are using this drone, within 1 hour, they can fertilize, they liquid, within the 10 across, within the 10 hours, they will, within 1 hour, they can fertilize, they liquid. Go to the next slide, please. So in the Department of ECE, we are planning to design such type of drones with the less cost. We are planning to design, because if the farmer 1 acre person also, they if they are utilizing, if they purchase within the cost of minimum to 1,000 to 5,000 rupees, so easily the farmer can buy and they can utilize. So this is our plan in the Department of ECE. My faculty members and my students are working on these application with the help of Vidya Sangha Technologies Private Limited. We are working together from 1 year, last year onwards. Almost this work is going to be complete. So let them, we want to check these, how the device are operating and all, as I mentioned in previous slide, as per the specifications. And also in this year, I think as per the proposed date of Indian government, the International Agriculture event going to organize in Delhi, 17 July 2020 to 19 July. Our students are going to participate in that event. So always we are motivating the student to participate in such type of events also. Next slide, please. Yeah. So from these my applications and my suggestion, these type of UAV, if you use for the, especially for agriculture purpose, it is a best usage, because the farmers, they are not taking care about their health. So if they are using such type of drones, they can save their life. And also my students in my department, every day my students are working on not only this, as mentioned Mahita madam, in this year we are filing the 2 patents. We are going to do the new innovative way also in this drone. We are planning to file 1 patent also. Our management is always supporting us in all the aspects. But always they are motivating the students and faculty members. I can say proudly, the PSCMR College of Engineering and Technology is a good platform to the students and faculty members to explore their research and also they explore their knowledge. So once again, I would like to thank my management, principal, and my staff members, and my students. And thank you all. You are giving a good opportunity to me to share few applications on this UAV. This type of UAV. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. I request Dr. M.Ranga Rao, sir, to continue the session. Ranga Rao, sir.
Sudhakar sir, please play the PPT. Good morning, one and all. Can you see my PPT?
Yes, sir, we see it.
Yes, sir. Good morning to one and all. So I am Dr. Ranga Rao, Professor in EC Department. Today I am going to give a brief introduction about UAV communication. As the sir told, UAV means unmanned aerial vehicle. See here we are having 2% and one here, one UAV, that is the drone. Basically, the link between the ground station as well aerial is an RF link. Similarly, there are two types of controls here. There are two types of communications here. The first one is the control communication between the base station and the aerial, and the second one is the payload communication between the these payload, that may be a sensor or maybe a video camera. Here's a control and non-payload communication. Here, these control and non-payload communication are basically used to communicate with the ground station or nearby aerial vehicles or with the satellites. Whereas payload communication is used to gather the information from various sensors or video cameras and transmit to the ground station with high speed data through high speed data communication. And here in control non-payload communication, we're having three categories here. The first one is communication for UAV command control, where here there is a control link between the drone as well as the ground station. Whereas in the second case, and this is basically for avoid the collision with the aeroplanes and helicopters. So there will be a communication for air traffic control. And third one is communication between various drones in order to maintain some distance between them. And here you can see this basic picture where here the base station and here a drone. And this drone is a tandem drone where here this is active drone. And this drone is servicing this area. Here you can see a ground station, and in middle we are having the drones, and in the top we are having some satellites here. And these drones will communicate with the ground station. They can communicate among themselves, and also they can communicate with the satellites. So in all the three ways they can communicate. Here various communication technologies used by drones are direct link, satellite link, ad hoc network link, and cellular network link. Direct link is the direct link between a drone and the ground station. Similarly, link between satellite and UAV. Similarly, ad hoc network means communication among various drones. And coming to cellular network, nowadays the drones can serve as base station. So now drones also becoming as part of the cellular network. Sir, not only deploying the drone to the sky, there should be proper communication between the ground station and various drones and the satellite. So here, a promising solution to meet the above UAV communication requirements by integrating UAVs into existing future generation cellular network. That means these drones are coming a part of cellular network. See here basically, we're having three types of communications here. The one is UAV assisted cellular communication. The second one is cellular assisted UAV communication. The third one is UAV communication. And these three fall under UAV communication. And the integration of all the three things now is a familiar one. Let's see one by one. The first one, UAV assisted cellular communication. In this, UAVs are acting as base stations here. For example, see here, in the left bottom, the base station has failed. In the situation, the service recovery drone will serve all the subscriber in this particular cell. Whereas coming to the bottom center cell, this bottom center cell is overloaded. So now this particular drone, GPS offloading drone, will take off of the load from the overloaded cell. Similarly, the right one here, this drone is capturing all the data from various points here. Whereas the top right, we're having a base station, and this base station linked to the top aerial relaying, where it can serve the subscribers in the mountain or hilly region. Whereas coming here, cellular assistant UAV communication, for example, in right side, you can find out the ground pilot as well as the drone here. And these two should be in line of sight here. If these two are not in line of sight, then we can go for the cellular network here. Here, each and every drone will be controlled by the cellular network. So initially, the ground control station gives the information to the base station of cellular network. From the base station, a particular drone will be controlled. So here there is no concept of line of sight. The drone can fly as it is to a longer distance. And here, these type of network used for cargo delivery, video surveillance, and other applications. And coming to UAV communication, this basically used to communicate or transfer the information from one drone to other drone. Means here the middle drones behave like a tandem nodes. Similarly, they have to maintain the distance, proper distance between the drones. So UAV communication takes a vital role here. And here the integration of network here. Here you were using, in the previous class we had told you, we're having three things here. UAV assistant cellular, cellular assistant UAV, and UAV. All the three things are here fabricated here. See here, this is the line of sight control here, where here satellite link we are having, and here a drone, the UAV control network here, and here cellular control network here. All are integrated here. The frequencies used in this drone are said commercially for controlling signals, we will use 43 megahertz or 900 megahertz or 2.4 gigahertz. We are using multiple frequencies. For video transmission, we are going for 5 gigahertz. In recent years, many researchers have proposed the uses of 5G for the control of the swarm. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, both the team members from Sriramulu College. It has been a wonderful journey all along, interacting with the college. Even when we saw the college going through a lot of accreditations, it was a nice thing to see the college demonstrating its capabilities to interact with industry and collaborate with research. I look forward to use my slide deck to cover and use this opportunity to learn from all of you about what you think after attending the speech by Dr. Ravi and Dr. Ranga Rao and myself. So can I have my slides set up, please? Thank you very much. Vidya Sangha is a relatively very young company that is registered not long ago, September 2019. And we have conducted a couple of drone-related events inspired by the ecosystem that is there in Karnataka state. Kind of aerospace, aeronautical and defense establishments. IEEE very strong out here, and I congratulate PSCMR to do this IEEE student branch related event now. So the lot of activism is there in IEEE. That's what inspired us to bring up those IEEE programs on drones already. And our thought process of applying to agriculture primarily came from Vijayawada being the green belt of India's rice bowl, just like Punjab. We thought we will use that as a launch pad for agriculture research. And as I speak, aviation is also coming up back on swing. You could hear a plane moving And in fact, in near to international airport, there is aerospace city there. And in Karnataka, there is one Challikere, there is one human space research. All these things will have a mutually reinforcing effect on one another, and we look forward to seeing a healthy growth of the drone industry. Can I have the next slide, please? So this is, in fact, a talk that I gave not long ago, 5 days back, for Engineers Without Border, organized by student branch of New Delhi North Top University. And also we do have speakers within IEEE standards organization and several societies who can bring forward latest research findings and interact with you for taking some projects with you, and also ask for some funding from government. And that would be the just not the talk, but we will be doing a lot of interactive work. So that's where I am. I connect with you all as one of the IEEE contributing members for the standard as well. There is one standard known as IEEE 1931.1, which relates to edge computing. So can I have the next slide, please? This is an interesting context of why we are talking about air taxi. It's all because students of Engineers Without Border wanted to focus more on those air taxi, which is very exciting. It actually captivates their imagination as well. So I didn't want to disappoint the student community. And so what I flashed here, these 13 organizations are, they're like ombudsmen. They're like a little bit of a watchdog against misuse of any of these flying objects. And recently I have seen a plane crash in Pakistan, and it was a little bit under investigation, but it indicates that lack of communication between ATC and pilot. So there were certain other reasons also, but drones can sometimes step in when the aviation industry has already completed 100 years. So may I have this set of 10 different drones that carry people, which is like at the moment looks scary for you, but watch them, then you feel little comfortable. So may I request the organizers to play that video, please?
Name of the video, sir?
Yeah, this link, that is the air tax,
Air
this
tax.
link, one.
Okay,
YZ5FS, this link.
yes, sir.
This is about air taxi.
Can you see it,
They
sir?
did a comparison of different Airbus, Boeing, and so many other manufacturers who made aeroplane that flies, carrying people without a pilot.
Yes, sir.
While that is getting loaded, I encourage all participants to keep using the option of typing your questions. Okay, here it is. Thank you. We can have the sound maximum. You can play it again with sound on. It's muted, I think. We don't hear the sound. No, I think the machine somewhere it is muting your sound. Okay, if there is a problem, then we play them, and then later on you can look up, because the files will be shared to you. And
Sir, can you see the presentation, sir?
Yeah, we see that particular link we need. The video we need is that air taxi one.
Yes, sir. I am presenting the video, but it is not showing up the audio, sir. I'll just a second, sir. Yes, sir. It should be coming now, sir.
New air
Good, thank
taxis
you.
and passenger drones of different types, which can fly autonomously over cities, reducing travel time. These are the 10 most advanced drones for passengers and
Can you
air
hear, sir?
taxis in the world.
Yeah, we see.
Whisper EAC. It is a new multi-rotor with
Increase the
space for 2
volume.
passengers that has been developed in France. It has a total of 8 engines and an emergency
We need to
parachute.
increase your volume.
The
little
batteries you use provide a 30-minute flight range. It is characterized by safety, performance, and low noise. The company expects the first units to begin marketing in 2020. Technalia. It is a new prototype of air taxi that is designed to cover short distances in cities autonomously. It can carry a load of 330 pounds and reach a speed of 55 miles per hour. It can cover distances of 9 miles in a time of 15 minutes. It works propelled by 4 independent drones that allow to increase the stability during the flight and the precision during the landing. Hexa. It works powered by 18 independent electric motors and is controlled through a joystick. It can reach a speed of
Hexa is
62
like,
miles per hour
16.
and has an autonomy of 15 minutes. It is made
There
of
is a
carbon
pilot
fiber
too.
and weighs 430 pounds.
Optionally, you can
It
have
is
a
equipped
pilot.
with safety systems such as airbags and an autonomous parachute. It has 4 floats that provide stability and allow to land in the water. Volocopter 2X. It is a
Volocopter
2-seater
2X.
multicopter that works powered by 18 electric motors. It can reach a speed of 62 miles per hour and has a range of 30 minutes. It has security systems and can operate
By the way, all
autonomously.
these are really
The
tested
company
with
has already
people,
completed
real
its first
people.
test flights in cities like Singapore
All are
and will
tested
launch its
okay,
air taxi
100%.
service in 2021. Bell Nexus 4EX. It is a 4-propelled
This is a
vehicle
company
and
that also
electric
makes,
propulsion designed to
aircrafts,
reduce time
Bell.
on urban journeys. It will transport people or loads on a quiet and comfortable trip through the city. You can reduce a 45-minute
Helicopters it
journey
needs.
to just 10 minutes. There will also be a hybrid version that will have a greater reach to cover more distant paths. SA1. It is a new air taxi developed by Hyundai and Uber that works powered by electric motors. It can take off and land vertically and will fly at a height
Skyport.
of
It's
between
like airport.
300
You
and
talk
600
about
meters.
Skyport now.
There will be new generation takeoff and landing stations
Same
installed in urban
helipads can be
centers.
reused for
The company
this.
will begin flight tests in 2020 and will start the service in the coming years. Heaviside. It is an electric vehicle for vertical takeoff and landing and high performance. It is designed to free people from traffic and can be piloted manually or operated autonomously. It has an autonomy of 1,000 miles and works powered by 8 propellers. When it flies through the cities, it is barely noticeable since it is about 100 times quieter
All
than a
these flying
helicopter.
machines remind me of Wings 2020 that happened March
Black
2020
Fly.
in
It
Hyderabad.
is an ultralight vehicle that is designed to take off and land vertically from anywhere. It works with 8 propellers propelled by electric motors. It can reach a speed of 62 miles per hour and has a range of 25 miles. It weighs 308
So this
pounds
is aimed
and
at
can
like
recharge 80%
Himachal
of its battery
glaciers
in
where
30 minutes. The
helicopter
company
flying
has
can
already
be
successfully
challenging
completed
to
more than
Air Force
2,800
people,
flights,
so
traveling more than
drones can fly
30,000
and do
miles.
the supply. That is one idea.
Lilium Jet. It is a new electric aircraft that can take off and land vertically. It can reach a maximum speed of 185 miles per hour and has an autonomy of 185 miles. It works with 36 engines mounted on 12 spoilers that rotate to take off and to propel it. It can be piloted manually or operated autonomously. It has space to transport 5 passengers and will be used as an air taxi from 2025.
In fact, there were some amphibian-like vehicles. There will be like a car on the road, but suddenly turns into a drone.
It is a new autonomous vehicle model that is designed to transport 2 passengers on medium distance trips.
This one is a Chinese maker.
It has twice as many propellers and twice the load capacity as the previous version. It can reach a speed of 80 miles per hour and works with 16 propellers powered by electric motors. It has an autonomy of 25 minutes and the flights are monitored in the control center. The company has already successfully transported passengers in countries of America, Asia, or Europe.
Okay, that's pretty good. So we'll get back to our presentation slide deck. Thank you very much. Not an issue, because you all will be given this access to this link and you can play it at your leisure. And this is just to say that flying taxis are already there waiting for approvals and mass adoption in different countries. So what you find, these 13 organizations are those which have accepted, now that there is some low-cost menace in India. You might have seen a WhatsApp forward talking about a number of flying objects. There was little birds-like things coming from, I think, west, the Pakistan side, and that's a regular event, it seems. So to overcome their damage to the crop, government has allowed the drone companies to do something there to scare them away and kill them if feasible. So this is one application that all these government organizations are looking at. Bureau of Civil Aviation, DGCA, these are all real organizations looking at live examples of using drones for certain real applications for Indian requirements. So we at Vidhya Sangha, yes, go to the next slide, please. So Vidhya Sangha, we are excited about colleges like Potti Sriramulu College of Engineering, where they have come forward to work with us on agriculture. And we know that the whole world is gripped with healthcare requirements. I've deleted one slide that when during the early days of this year in Wuhan, there was a drone that is used to spray some kind of anti-fungal or so anti-infection related chemicals spray for human welfare. So that I've deleted because already a lot of overdose on COVID-19. So we have to be thinking more positive on rest of the things. So what we are excited about is 5G, because we see already Dr. Ranga mentioned about very interesting observation. Both Dr. Ravi and Dr. Ranga, they have done excellent individual research and came out with findings. Dr. Ravi mentioned about Indian applications of UAVs. And also, Dr. Ranga mentioned about UAV. Some researchers might think, oh, I have another object to deal with. Let's say if you are a wireless professional, you may think, oh, I have to handle UAV, additional device to deal with. So you might think that I already have the ground-based users, they have call drops. I got additional burden to deal. It is like I have to cater for them. This is one perspective. Let me give you an entirely other perspective, taking a cue from Dr. Ranga's speech. Here is a UAV which is not seeking your help, and it is rather providing support. So UAV industry, once properly matured, can be the provider rather than as a problem. It's not a part of the problem, but it's a part of the solution. So UAV can provide wireless connectivity, and maybe better connectivity than when this is fading due to the natural connectivity issues of 5G, where the coverage will not be as good as it was in the 2G days. So that's where is the value add of UAV, not as a dependent on 5G wireless communication, but something that would do value addition to the 5G is something that really excites us at our small company. We are very blessed with all the like-minded international organizations, and there is one IIT partner that came forward with an MOU to do some study of UAV as a VNF instance for the 5G, and that research has gone for approval from funding. Yeah. Next, please. So we are interested to do more collaborative business ventures, such as with Potti Sriramulu College of Engineering on agriculture for sure, because Andhra Pradesh is the rice bowl of the world, and a lot of synergy between the neighboring states, Karnataka and Andhra, in terms of innovation since long. And participation towards certain missions, as Dr. Ravi mentioned about, students can go to international universities doing a cutting edge research on technologies for agricultural research, including UAVs. And we want to also look at if you have an innovative solution for the COVID-19, we are interested to look at if that can be like, rather than importing anything, we can make it in India. So any import substitution naturally attracts VIZAG SANGHA. So next slide, please. So what we look forward doing in is the next slide. Next slide, please. We wish to be in the AI and AR and virtual reality space. Yeah, now you can play this hummingbird stuff. Here is a hummingbird that mimics a bird-like behavior so that the butterflies don't antagonize with the machine amidst them, and they feel very naturally inclined to rest on the surface of the bird, and they allow the data to be gathered in middle of the forest where the honeybees are at work, and this particular drone goes and captures all the data. That is what is the Hummingbird project all about. Movement so clearly, that's what is where the drones can be used for journalism. Capturing minute details of these rays of light. There's a little cheetah there. Beautiful. Thank you very much. So we'll continue with our journey through slides. There are a couple of more videos coming up. And I've got another half an hour to conclude for 15 hours to have question answers for you. So let's move with this presentation. Yeah, move further. Next slide, please.
Lie sleeping.
Next one. No, leave this. Next slide. This also you can skip for the while. It's just the models that you can. This is interesting. I want you to do a little physical activity because we have been seated from morning 10 a.m. So I want you to stretch your hand, thumb stretching forward, do a small physical exercise, and do a clockwise rotation like this 3 times. Your thumb forward and then completely forward and do stretch like this. Clockwise stretch like this 3 times. And then you move towards right and then again do this exercise. Move your right hand circularly 3 times. Then you look your head up, raise your hand and make over your head clockwise 3 times with your thumb. Later in the evening, you can repeat this exercise, keeping your head firm, your hands and eyeballs moving likewise. That's a good exercise for your eyes as well. So what are we talking about here from the perspective of any flying machine? Leave alone a drone, any flying machine will have this Bernoulli's principle implemented in the form of these ailerons, rudders and flaps. We call it as yaw, roll and pitch. And that is explained in these 2 diagrams. You can see in all the 3 dimensions. That is how you get that international trade and armament regulation from mostly dominated by the major powers in the world like NATO and USA and other major powers. They don't want anyone to do too much research in these areas. You need to disclose that you are preparing products which can monitor inertial measurement unit. So America has an embargo not to let anyone manufacture products with too much research in these areas. However, when you are applying for peaceful purposes, for civilian applications, there is no such embargo. You cannot sell it, but you make it in India and use it inside India, so you are allowed. Only when you sell it, you have to disclose that this product with the inertial measurement unit capabilities of control of the machine in all three directions, like it's a motion in up down plane, back and left right movement, and pitching, so going forward and pitching up and down, those things can be measured. And there are a couple of alternatives to that using gyro stabilizers, and you can start working on those areas as one of your research topics. Next slide, please. These are some of the work done by one of our interns. He is from Mangalore. His name is Nitesh Baliga. Please move the remaining 3-4 such designs that he has made. So when you work on a new project, you have to do from scratch, from designing to 3D printing, prototyping, like this. So 3-4 other slides quickly. This is a Octa, that is, this is correct. 8 wings. And then this is a Lockheed Martin. This is one of the engine makers. Next slide, please. Lockheed Martin makes lots of engines. It's like Rolls-Royce that powers Airbus and Boeing aircrafts and a number of other international planes. Okay, next, please. So this is a thing that we have, the state-of-the-art global drone that you can say made by NASA, known as Global Hawk RQ-4A. We are going to show you the real picture when it is parked in the hangar. Next slide, please. So basically, as my job has been simplified now by both the speakers spoke before me, I just want to describe the same thing slightly as a recap maybe for you. So first of all, we can define a drone as a dynamic remotely operated navigation equipment. Dynamic remotely operated navigation equipment. You are not operating by a pilot inside, you are remotely operating it. That remotely operating can be line of sight or beyond line of sight. There are some drones that can go far beyond 2,700 miles away from you, almost circumnavigating the earth, and stay on air for more than a day and carrying more than tons of load. This is how there are varieties of drones, predominantly classified according to their size, small, medium, micro, nano, whatever we use for movies, they are all nano. And range means how far it will go. And then endurance, how much battery life, how much of hours of sustainable battery power it carries. There is an example of an Israeli mini drone that has 3 batteries in it, and it has a 2 hours battery. But afterwards, before even that comes to end, you need to reach out to the drone wherever it lands and connect to the next one for another 2 hours journey. So physically you have to do it. Like that, it has a 2 standby battery system. So by little bit of engineering, we can make it like a 6 hours endurance design by a little bit of re-engineering and reverse engineering. And we have a lot of military is the main kind of push for all these drones right from 1800 when the drones have come. Okay, next slide, please. And civilian applications are becoming interesting. So the classification can be done like a small, medium, large, very low cost UAVs, maybe for educational purposes. As sir mentioned, between 30,000 to 70,000 falls into that. Then there are close range UAVs, short range, mid range, and endurance UAVs, which can go beyond the longest flights that we know in the mankind today. We have like India to USA, one single from Bangalore to New York, like that. Even the endurance of UAVs can be much more than that. They are also developed. Next slide, please. So this is how the classification happens in terms of their speed, in terms of altitude, and then type of weight they carry. And so in the interest of time, I will skip this slide. So next slide, please. So this is interesting, not just the ones that you thought about. Drones can be as funny and as interesting, curious things like very small things. In fact, as the title of the slide says, mosquito. In fact, one of the projects, many people in India having mosquito menace, they have actually used drones to drive away or scare mosquitoes or kill them. Even that's one interesting coincidence to the mosquito name. I avoided purposefully from inviting your comment, or it looks like a fake. So on your fingertip, you can have a mosquito, and it might not be the real mosquito. It may be artificial, and they are also made. And tiny cameras are made that are used for some coveted applications. And these two drones, one of them can be for driving away mosquitoes, and other one is for learning purposes. Tiniest commercially sold drone by Netherlands-based company SKEYE. Okay, next slide, please. So there's some fixed wing, as Dr. Ravi mentioned, fixed wing ones, so you need to push them, or else like I was an Air Force officer and we had missiles. We had a transport loading vehicle where we bring the missiles, but we don't fire them from the vehicle. They are the short range missiles, but we load them onto a launcher, and by remotely from radar controlled, by locking to the target, we launch them. So missiles and drones share some behavior. Similarly, fighter aircrafts and drones in future will be, a drone will be trained to become like a fighter plane. And this is just a small plane that the person is pushing. Thereafter, it will be on its own, and you can use it for aerial photography, etc. Next slide, please. It's a 2 meter wide. And so this one, as I mentioned to you, the real picture of that large wingspan of the drone and built by NASA, and it is known as a Global Hawk. Okay, next slide, please. So there's some other details about the Rustam is one professor in IISc Bangalore. They gave the technology to DRDO, NEL, HAL, and they built that around 15 of them. One crashed recently, and there is some research going on why it crashed. So any crash should give you ample information about why it happened. So that is also good learning for us. So, okay, next slide, please. So there are a couple of other videos we wish to quickly present, and I will come to conclusion in another 15 minutes. So let us play these collision avoidance background and experiment videos, please. No, the videos, there are two videos,
Yes,
go back.
yes, sir.
There are two videos, and let there be no voice, but video is, it conveys the concept by visually. We will know that what research is going on there. Voice is not a challenge. Always you can play it again later on.
You said collision avoidance, sir? You said collision avoidance, sir?
Yes.
Just a second, sir. This one, sir?
Yeah. See, this boy in Zurich University is actually training the machine. So a lot of machine learning, AI. So most of you may be thinking that I have to be an AI professional. So it's an opportunity for you to think about these scenarios and build solutions like they are experimenting. They've combined infrared and other LIDAR and other sensors to bring that kind of reconstruction of the virtual theater of what was going on between the drone and the person who is throwing the ball at it. Obstacle detection and how you adapt to that scenarios. So as you throw, there will be cameras and sensors which would teach the drone what to do to best handle that scenario. So there are 3 rules of robotics. All the robots will follow instructions given to you. Second rule is, at times it may violate your instruction if it is in the interest of one human being. And third rule is, it may violate and destroy one person if it is in the interest of group of people. So that's like a military grade drone. These are the 3 rules of robotics, just like Newton's laws. Okay, let's play the experiment. Moved at 8.9 meters per second, pretty much the speed for kind of taking camera and taking pictures of terrain contour mapping ground. So it's very intelligent to avoid the hit, you see. It's that is what is needed to avoid a crash. Good experiment Zurich University has started to do, which is a role model for others to emulate and copy and take that research to the next level. This is how I expect students in Potti Sriramulu also to create a room of drones, indoor drones, to experiment like this. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go next slides. So I have got another 10 minutes to conclude and then leave for the floor for question answers. Okay, these are the tiny student. This is also Professor mentioned in his talk about UAVs and base stations. The UAV can be a G node B. That is one definition of a UAV. Or it can be a UE. A UAV can be a 5G UE, or it can be a relay node also. And if you look at a drone, let's move to the next slide. IoT applications are explained. So here is a drone with its components like motors, and then on top of that rotating blades, which are like following that aerofoil concept of Bernoulli principle. Then there's electronic speed controllers and safety switch, because when you are doing calibration in a lab, you don't want it to start catching the momentum of the motors and rotating with all the blades. And that's why there is a safety switch to stop it from doing that. And you got a landing gear, which is always on, and then you have onboard camera and computer. Initially, you can try that onboard computer to be a Raspberry Pi or Arduino, or Raspberry Pi is good. And you can actually develop your own PCBs and ASICs and FPGAs for your advanced research. So a drone knows its direction, like vector, front direction. I mentioned yaw, roll, and pitch. GPS receiver, besides latitude, longitude, it can be used to keep an instruction to that flying object to stay at one place. And that's where you can provide internet access to a place where coverage is not there. And you can stay there for 3 hours and come back, and later on you can send another drone. Like that, a whole day you can launch a number of drones and cover 24 hours of internet access in places where the towers or fiber optics cannot reach to provide internet, in places like Philippines or other islands, Japan, etc., some place of Japan. Next slide, please. So this talks about some of the relationship between the height at which you take a camera and get some view about the mesh vertex. So when your height is less, you get more details of the mesh vertex details, altitude. If your altitude is less, then you will get more details of the vertices. But when your altitude is more, you get more area under its purview. Okay, let's go to next slide, please. One is vertex, another is the area covered. So when your height is more, you are able to see larger area, but lesser details of the tips of those buildings or what you are observing. So this is a kind of thing you need to trade off. And third one is, yes, next slide, please. Third aspect is at what speed your drone should be, so that it takes good view of the things that it is observing. And they found out by a study that 6 meters per second drone is able to collect lot of pictures which can be streamed and then analyzed for photogrammetry purposes. That next slide summarizes that. Move that quickly and further beyond that. Let's go to next slide further. Next slide. So this is about, yes, Okay, stay here, stay here. So why we are talking about drones? All of a sudden, your mind may say, why these people are always talking about drones? So let's think about what is our planet Earth. Our planet Earth is perhaps mankind can never cope up with the speed at which the planet Earth is moving. 1 second it moves 30 kilometers, and so it at 67,000 miles per hour. No flying machine ever that can be made like Nabuto na Bhavishati. Mankind can never ever make a machine like that speed. That is the mother earth itself, and we, due to a trick of Newtonian inertia, you all don't feel about it, and but our mind is agile. That's what makes us learn and get excited about these technologies. So there are other astronomical reasons, which is if you understand earth well, then the sun and other stars also are similar. So next slide please. So these are varieties, as already Dr. Ravi and Ranga Rao sir mentioned. I want to highlight about the use case of fire accidents. So America, Australia, and even the rainforests of Amazon, every year it's like a repeat phenomenon that there are forest fires. And I've been asking in several IEEE forums as well how to arrest that, and why can't we use technologies for intelligently prevent or proactively detect early stage of the fire, not like Kandava Vana, but before the fire is on the let loose, you get a control of it and prevent that kind of wild inferno. That's the point where drone can help. And also it can release some kind of let us say that you go backwards, the Titanic instance, when people were looking for life jackets. So you can send about 1,000 drones there like a swarm and let them all release the life jackets. The passengers of the Titanic could have been saved. At that point of time, actually 1800 already technology exists. Drone technology is predating the aviation industry by 100 years. The first drone that was used was Austria used a drone to throw some weapons on Venice, its enemy, using hot air balloons. So this technology took a back seat, and then aviation has dominated the last 100 years. Okay, next slide, please. So this actually, Dr. Ravi very nicely explained satellite communication, terrestrial wireless, and drone communications, and all work together and provide you seamless connectivity to solve the challenges that mankind has. Next slide, please. This is the one that in India, there is a prospective application of a drone for Survey of India application where compared to a Google road maps or demarcation observed by car, you might have seen some car with some rotating thing to map and do the Google Maps, etc. Compared to the cost and the time involved, a drone can do it at 10% time and 10% cost and more efficiently because it is looking from sky down and gets you better pictures meant for the scalability of the Survey of India maps on, and that is a project is already going on. Okay, next slide, please. Now, this is a kind of a criticism about the aviation industry, though we cannot survive without aviation industries. The entire economy of the world, like hotels and cars and all, is dependent on that. But now it's like a satire, and look at right top right corner. On one morning of 9:30 a.m. 2014 in some west of Europe, that is the picture of the aircrafts. The tiny bobs there, they are all different aircrafts. That is just one instance. Then you can extrapolate that same thing is happening in America and Asia and other parts of the world, Europe. So this is one portion in one part of Europe. And so these are the four things that are likely to happen in near future. Wright brothers driven research of aviation that has taken us this far, like we have Boeing, Airbus, and a few more. Tons of issues that have come with carbon dioxide emission and carbon footprint of the world. And when you travel, you have to buy a little extra to offset your footprint, and then they will do some plants, etc., to offset. Then the world wars, there were 2 world wars. Indirectly, aviation industry has contributed to those world wars. And Wuhan has carried the virus whole world. So is this the time for a new yuga of flying with a high, to fly high in the sky freely? That will be like a title of our program. So to give a kind of proof of concept, Bernard Christian, a couple of pilots went around the world in a 2-seater plane, and they were not given any support by any of the ATCs because they were all busy doing the regular aviation, which is really very hectic job. So they were able to complete their work and successfully prove that flying can happen without use of air traffic fuel. So UAVs are coming a long way with more than $100 billion market, and that's what could happen in coming few decades from now. The next slide, please. So this is unfortunate things. Let me be like a devil's advocate. Now I am now telling negative things against drones. There are 2 airports in London, Heathrow and Gatwick, and there were a couple of times the drones came very close, much nearer than what regulations say. You cannot fly a drone within 5 miles distance of any aviation place. But that violations have happened, leaving some millions of people stranded either in the airports or in the journey or at homes in panic or around the world looking at what's going on. So there were a lot of hours they were investigating, and once you take a boarding pass, you are not allowed to move out also. So like that, they were neither in the plane nor in home, but they were in the airport for hours and sometimes days together. And it happened not once, but many times. And there is one at the lower left corner, this image talks about a white box. That is something bad that is going on. A drone is delivering one drug packet to inmates of a prison, and we don't know how was it allowed to happen. It happened. And there is another instance when a Olympics like a game was going on, and suddenly a UFO like a drone lands there with a disc and lights on, and people were all a little bit scared first, but all these could have been actually averted so that the drone industry would have taken much faster pace as compared to today. Because the fear of smuggling, prison deliveries, espionage, weaponization and terror, and also attackers like drone may be misused by attackers if your internet is not strong. So there may be also a possibility of a cyber security concerns there as well. Okay, next slide, please. So this is about, again, coming back to routine thing, and we have seen the boy of Zurich lab throwing a ball at the UAV. So here is inside that there is an image processor, infrared sensor, and thermal imaging, and that's what is the way that you need to be focusing on. One is about the body of the drone, another is what sensors it carries, and after it collected data, how do you process them, and what kind of software tools you have, or to navigate the drone, what kind of robotic operating system that you want to use, or Vicon, and learn those skills, and that itself will be employability for you for coming 5 to 6 years and decade. Okay, next please. So this is a kind of a sleek drone on the right. It will be circumnavigating Earth. It's like solar powered, and that's also a drone. And currently the drones will look as they have got these landing gears there. That's the kind of a transformation that we can see in future, the drones. Okay, next slide, please. This is about LEO, means Geo Earth Station, that's low Earth orbit and medium Earth orbits, and there's a profiling of them. I want to highlight about the delay for a UAV using these satellites for their control and navigational purposes. If you are using geostationary, it is a half of a second, 500 milliseconds, huge delay. But if you use MEO, it is between 70 to 200 milliseconds delay, and propagation loss will be high here. Still, like geo also, propagation losses are there, delays are there, but looks like LEO, that is low Earth orbits, are relatively more attractive proposition to work with, because they have got less propagation losses, path losses, and also the delays are of the order of 10 to 30 milliseconds. which make them attractive for even the 5G research. Though ideally 1 millisecond is the system delay expected, but 10 to 30 milliseconds is a very good blessing in disguise compared to existing 4G. Next slide, please. So this one is Dr. Ranga Rao sir, very nicely explained. So let's move to next slide. This also he taken care of. Next slide, please. And this is interesting. Taxonomy of the UAV cellular applications and use cases 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 1 is earth and environmental monitoring. This is pretty much like what Dr. A. Ravi mentioned about 6 applications in India, you remember. So this is earth and environmental monitoring. Next is civil and commercial services. Third one is disaster relief and management and security, like firefighting, as we said, or for our medical COVID-19 scenarios. Industrial IoT applications, like drone can be used in manufacturing. They go around a factory and keep reporting any violations of machine not working properly, anything breaking down. Those industrial applications, drones can be put to use. Similarly, emerging technologies are, as I mentioned, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, edge computing, swarm intelligence. These are all the things that are gamut of things that can happen. Each of these verticals, like 5 different domains, and their associated 5 domains, like 20 different areas, can become a part of your research thesis, and good luck with them. Okay, next slide, please. So this is about a drone and a ground-based station. Here the drone is used as a mobile device. It is still flying, but it is at a height of not more than 150 meters. There is a scenario. It can be doing 5 handovers per minute. Handover in wireless is one tower is static at one place. As the drone moves from one place to another, it comes closer to another base station. As in case of this visual, it was initially here and then it might have come to this side. So it has to do a handover. So it can do in 1 minute 5 handovers, but different scenarios of different heights, it can do different kinds of handovers. So that is what is expected, because you need to use this data for engineering purposes, for system modeling purposes, for already the telecommunication, the voice network is congested. There are so many issues of call drops, and then you are now bringing about a motion of these UAVs on top. So here is that one UAV here, and there is some starting point to final point. It need not be the journey straight line. It can be going like a circuitous. One way is to move like this, another is to go straight. These 2 options, because it is doing computationally intensive job of knowing what is the ground reality, what is the context, where are my ground towers. The drone always wants to go nearer and above the ground towers so that it is covered by the communication system. That may be the new interesting scenario, why the drone is not moving as you want, but it is already aware of the towers underneath, and then it will know how not to lose the control. For a while it's okay, for a few milliseconds drone loses control, fine, it will again regain control. But if it is for long, it may drop. Therefore, drones may use artificially intelligent machine learning driven algorithms of knowing where is the footprint of the underlying towers or a traffic available for the normal wireless subscribers. And that's a new school of thought about how to control drones using terrestrial network. Next slide, please. So this is about Airbus ferrying items from shore to the ship in a Navy application. Next slide. And so communication, Dr. Ravi has excellently covered. So move to other slides, please. Move off all these slides. And there are, yes, go back. Yeah, this is something to talk about. Yeah, one slide back. One slide back. Few slides back. That particular one image of, no, there is one key site 300 milliseconds and microseconds thing. Stop there. Yeah. So typically what is happening today is a drone and its controller are exchanging information just like once in every 300 microseconds or 2 milliseconds. If we let us say 2 milliseconds. So in 1 second, you have got 500 instances of 2 millisecond. So like that, it will in the entire 1 second, only everything else is dull. Suddenly one spike like that, and that message has gone, and remaining time nothing is going on. So both the detectors like that, the drone as well as on the controller should be quite sensible and receptive to that random data that comes, and analyze it and make sense out of it and reciprocate also. So the challenges are the lot of Wi-Fi users and Bluetooth users and thousands of mobile phones might also cause co-channel interference, and power also can be a challenge, and low power and frequency agility. These are the challenges of existing wireless systems, which can be mitigated by shifting the wireless scenario from the current dependency on the HF frequencies of 2 to 32 megahertz or 433 megahertz, as Dr. Ranga Rao sir said, to the wireless 5G, where you got a huge options of selection of frequencies, though of course they are licensed frequencies. And also Wi-Fi has some 802.11 AC onwards, Wi-Fi 5 and Wi-Fi 6, wherever feasible, that can be utilized for better implementation. Next slide, please. Yeah, move away. And this is about further work from 2 to 32 megahertz, but done by the Keysight. I encourage you to use Keysight equipment for your study. Okay, next slide. And here is about other frequencies of very high frequency, 27, 40, 70. So most of the drones and controllers use something called frequency hopping. Let us say I am hopping my frequencies. I started with 27 and then I hopped to 70. I skipped 40. Or I started with 70 and I skip 27 and I go to 40 in between. So I can randomly hop amongst the three frequencies, picking two at a time. And my system should be able to predict and learn and avoid searching in places where there is no point in searching. So if the better coordination exists between controller and the drone, that search algorithm can be good. Therefore, we have to try 5.8 gigahertz Wi-Fi, 2.4. These are all Wi-Fi frequencies. And there are also 900 megahertz given to industrial, scientific, and medical applications. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, almost I came to the end of my talk. So these are some of the statistics about the frequency and power levels of a drone, which we can rework when we change the scenario from current implementation to the wireless implementations. Next slide, please. So we have got only about 14 channels. Yeah. Further, this is also talking about signal to noise ratio and how the tools can help you for tens of megahertz of frequencies based. So at nearest to Vijayawada, you have got Vignan University, where they have got that 12 crore rupees of bundle of these test equipments available with them. You can go and partner with them and use their services. Yeah. Next slide, please. So this is talking about time difference of delay of arrival of the signal, and there are some signal links provided in the presentation which you can look up, and that with which you can actually track a flying drone. Something like a aircraft also, after a few crashes, government has regulated that the location of a drone should be always known to the cloud. It has to report, not just after it crashes in a ocean, you are searching for it. So the drone also has to keep on reporting its location, and that is studied under time difference of arrival kind of studies. Okay, next slide, please. In phase, quadrature phase. So this is about a violation. That little tiny green disc that is shown here talks about a violation of a no-fly zone, and that is something can be avoided. And there are a lot of so software should be able to know. Tell the drone that you don't fly here. The drone should carry intelligence to tell that don't go this way. The controller, if it is wrongly guiding, drone should feed back to the controller, don't drive me into wrong places. So it should be intelligent enough. So, okay, next slide, please. And so these are the beam forming. As a wireless professionals, we also look at beam forming, which is the frequency regime 2 of around 28 megahertz to gigahertz to 56.2 gigahertz. So we can have different kinds of beamforming applied to drone applications. Okay, next slide, please. So you can get more data from the 3GPP, and these are references. And next slide. And these are some videos that are there for highlighting about the time difference of arrival. And so this is about summary of the business market of military drones. It is more than 15 billion, and there is also a medical drone. Interestingly, even before the COVID days, the next slide, please. I'll show you about applications of medical. This is interesting that even from 2008, mankind has been seriously researching on use of drones for vaccination and sending blood, and also EMS, emergency management services and rescue. And so it's a global business of a few $1 million, like nearly $500 million. Now with all this COVID, it is likely to be $1 billion entirely. Medical itself will be so much. That is what is the increased prediction about the market impact after the post-COVID days. Okay, next slide, please. So this is one example of a DHL carrying packets, and also Amazon Prime Air, and tomorrow Maruth drones or Skylark or Skyport, several drones that we work with, Skycraft, and number of other drones. There is one AP Drone Corporation, so we work with them. And very soon Swiggy and other items that you order may be coming by a drone on your rooftop. Okay, next slide, please. And this is about a breakup of various industries. Already my learned colleagues have given you details of various industries. Okay, next slide, please. This also Dr. Ranga Rao mentioned about UAV base station example and users. So this is one beam is scattering to the user group 1, the other group is scattering to user group 2. And and then there is also a ground-based and satellite-based support system available. Okay, next slide, please. This is about a virtual network functionality, which we are actually doing research along with the IIT partner. As I mentioned, it's a serious research topic, and it deals with cloud, and it deals with creation of your network slicing instances in the 5G. If you have interest to work with us, you are welcome to study about VNF and Mano, HC Mano. We will guide you with the knowledge of network slicing and take you into these instances of distributed virtual network functionalities, which is the crux of the research that world is interested in now. Okay, next slide, please. So multi-UAV, that is also name given to the swarm of drones. They can be controlled by VNFs, as you could see here. So VNFs become all of a sudden very interesting aspect of the drone functionality. Okay, next slide, please. And this is another study done by, yes, so okay, RAN and core. So wireless is made up of two components, radio access network and a core network. And you can have the traffic management between the one side, one end is a UAS, that is a UAV plus another controller called as UAS, just like a base station and a controller called base station subsystem. It is called UAV, and a UAV controller is together known as a UAS. Okay, and number of UAVs, like 100 UAVs. They have done a study of throughput, a number of UAVs, research about, they have performed this study. We're taking 100 UAVs, they made a study, and this is the report of the graph. And that is a pretty nicely documented. We'll give you those references when you come with certain ideas. Okay, next slide, please. So this is an interesting thing, that drone community in India is very strong, and there is something known as a Drone Federation of India. They have also conducted a drone festival, and you can register as a dronefederation.in. You can register your Potti Sriramulu College Drone Club as one of the members of this federation. Okay, and so it will be interesting things coming forward. Okay, next slide, please. It will be like a Startup India mission, and we are happy to be belonging to the part of the solution side of the COVID-19. All the drone professionals today onwards can say, I am a COVID warrior. I'm a COVID-19 warrior, because government has authorized relief program using drones. This is Garud, government authorization for relief using drones. So feel proud that you as a drone professional are a COVID warrior. And I also received a certificate for COVID warrior trainings and all. Okay, good. So this is about the study done by ISRO, and this is a real pictures of the drone taken in Meghalaya for studying about land so erosion, etc., and on the high mountain area. Next slide, please. Some more such studies done by 3D construction of shopping complex done by the ISRO's arm of the drone NEAC, Northeast Satellites Center, focusing on UAVs. Next slide, please. Operational challenges. The drones have a lot of they have to process a lot of data. So as professionals, apart from ECE or computer science, you should be like a big data analyst or dealing with large chunk of data. So learning UAVs and 5G help you to also utilize your knowledge of artificial intelligence, big data analytics, machine learning algorithms here, because they are all useful in solving these challenges and problems that you encounter. Okay, next slide, please. So this is about the test flights results of if you use a helicopter or a drone, ISRO has conducted a comparison. They found drones are having better prospects of doing lot of service. Okay, next slide, please, for the land service, etc. And the payloads. This is all the results they have documented using their real drone. Okay, next slide. And they can be a quadcopter or a hexcopter. These are small, sleek ones, which already ISRO is using for some studies. Next slide, please. So there was a question asked by my previous delivery of the same talk by one professional. What is relation between the satellite research, human space research and drones? Because initially all their ideas they will try with drones before really launching human to the space or machines to the space. Yeah, next slide, please. So this is something like we should avoid. We should avoid trespassing using drones on secure locations, which the Bureau of Civil Aviation is not happy about. So the more such violations happen, we'll have bad days for the drones. We hope people don't violate rules. Okay, next slide, please. And this is about a 5G world alliance is there. There is a world of UAVs in Europe. There is an association. They are saying that some 194 people have been rescued using drone-based activities. And there are so many employment, like a 4 million, maybe 4,40,000 people got employment in the drone industry in the Europe itself, and so many other statistics that they claim. And there will be regular events of these world forums of the UAVs. You can look up that website, worlduav.eu, and work with them. Okay, next slide, please. This is what at IEEE we are interested to work with you also. Aeronautical Engineering and Electronics Society is there, where UAVs are a part of their interest group, and they do a lot of technical seminars and sessions. We'll come back to you. Collaborative work between ComSoc and AESS will bring some sessions much more in depth than 1 day, 1 hour that we have been interacting right now. It will be 1 full day session or a 2-day session on UAVs. We will come out with next day. Next slide, please. So these are all the organizations. I belong to all of them, and the Computer Society conducted a drone computing in the year 2017. Then ComSoc has now launched the Vehicular Transport System Division. Then we already have AESS very strong in Benguluru, which was the pioneering department that helped HAL and NAL and DRDO, ISRO to come out with a lot of studies on aviation. And Robotic Automation Society is also there, and a lot to do together as a team. Yeah, next slide, please. So this is interesting that companies like Swiggy, Zipline, and Tata Advanced and a few others have applied for licenses to use drones for logistics supply chain. And for them, government has already given training on beyond visual line of sight training. And this is a work in progress. You may have something like drone organizations transporting their items, just like two cars, you are moving items. So drones may collaborate with each other. One Ola drone company and a Uber drone company may ship one item in between. They may transfer items amongst them without you worrying about it, and finally it will reach you. And that's kind of a digital token based cash transfer can happen using blockchain driven smart contract. And that is also a research topic we can do. A digital wallet loaded on a drone, which it will exchange with another drone, just like you go and do petty shopping from your pocket money. And that is also a research area one can take up. Next slide, please. So these are the organizations which are like governing bodies which will resist you from violating any norms. And if anybody violates the norms, the permission given for a drone to be used for arrest of the locust. Now, right now in North India, this is a hot topic. In my WhatsApp, there is a video also of a lot of tiny birds, like things which are a problem, and also they are damaging the vegetation. So government has allowed the drones can be used to apply against the locust. Okay, next slide, please. So these are all the like do's and don'ts. You can use it only for locust, but not for other applications. These are all the rules that government made when they issued an order permitting the drone usage for this purpose in those cities. Like say within a distance of 5 kilometers from the perimeter of airports of Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, Kolkata, Bengaluru, Hyderabad. Like that, they have made rules of engaging these no-fly zones, etc. Okay, next slide, please. So this is also one study was done known as Observer Research Foundation in March of 2018. Immediately government by December came out with a policy guidelines on the drones. Subsequently, they also issued another policy to register every drone with the government database. Okay, next slide, please. So these are all the violations. If you don't register and fly, if you don't have a DGCA issued acknowledgement number, then your license as a company can be confiscated. These are the risks of violations. Okay, one should be aware of as the rules of the law. Okay, next line, please. So cellular, GSM and LTE and drones. There is also a study done of how to destroy a drone which is bad. What anti-drone systems are also on the research. You have to detect them and avoid them so that mankind is safe. So a part of the research is how to safeguard from the bad drones. That is also a research topic to pursue. Okay, next slide, please. Identity, how to assign an identity to a drone. Is it RFID or another method? This is also work in progress across the globe. International Civil Aviation Organization is also closely monitoring these developments here. Next slide. So almost I came to the end of my talk, and so drones will give you peace of mind. You see the kind of serenity that you observe. The drone picture gives you the calmness of nature, as nowadays you get to see nowadays, because not much of traffic happens on the streets, and nature is at its best nowadays. You can see them. Okay, next slide, please. So what we can think about future would be like we might be at home, like a COVID-19 scenario, but unlike your cars on the road, there may be a lot of drones moving around, and all your vegetables, whatever you are buying or whatever items you want, maybe they are these drones are carrying for you. Maybe just about 300 days from now, it may start, and then government approvals may come in another 2-3 years in some parts of the world at least, if not in India. Okay, 2022 is the drones role in the regular civil supplies. You will begin to see already they are being used in postal departments and supply chain by certain use cases, but in a much larger, wider scale, you will begin to see them, including safeguarding your petrol oil rigs or some of the establishments. Security also can be done through the drones. Okay, next slide, please. So I think I've done. Thank you so much, and I look forward to listening a lot of voice back from you. That is what the takeaway for me is to listen from you, and then we are eager to work with you, and then extend hands. And we want to meet the government of Andhra Pradesh, AP Drone Corporation, and nearby states. We also work actively with other states like Telangana, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. So we will make a South India Union and go along with the Drone Federation of India in a larger way. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Hello.
Yeah, I'm open for any question answers. Kindly let me know if there are any questions.
So we have a few questions from the participants. We have
Okay.
made a list of the queries. I'll be asking you one by one before moving to vote of thanks session. So there was a query from the participant: in the current scenario of our country, how can drones can be proved out to be revolutionary?
Yeah, current scenarios are a little exceptional to the rule, and perhaps only drone industry can say that we are more relevant than other industries, because first point is that I have got umpteen number of products that are coming out now, no touch, like don't touch the lift button, or when you go to office, don't touch anything. So everywhere no touch policy. Therefore, drone can give you that kind of a independence from physical touch, because it can remotely ferry item, and it is flexible, and then it's a tested proven formula from 200 years, well tested in military, and slowly coming into civil. And therefore drone is not a thing to be scared about. Drone is much more mature than an aircraft, because it is at 100 years more ancient technology than aviation.
I think the question is answered, sir. The other question from the participant is how much it costs overall to design a drone? Maybe
Yeah, I
project
tell
type
you,
drone for students.
right. So I will start from a most expensive military drone, which is like $500 million. But that is with all weapons and international, like they have, it has a flight time of more than a day, carrying tons of, and then it's support of lot of technologies, and most of it is closely guarded. And let's come to other extreme. So if you are interested to buy as well as do research, that is one way of engaging the vendor community that I am aware of. And if you want to do research, then the smaller ones like drones under 40,000, which also includes training you on the operating system and then helping you with certain codes, and that kind of a support also can be built in. And so they can send it, like every student can get one for the if you are buying in bulk like 10 students and more, cost may vary, but otherwise one single item you buy, it may be like between 40,000 to 50. Already Dr. Ravi mentioned about the drones used for agriculture. They are in the range of 70,000 or slightly less. So that's the way. So one is a drone, another is a optional payload. Okay. Okay, next
Okay,
question.
sir. Next question is how UAV can work in remote areas. Will it work in all weather conditions? And how AI and medical sciences are related? They want complete explanation of drone working. Some of the participants are querying us, can we have a complete explanation of drone working? I'm just putting all the things together, and they want to know the pros and cons of the industry, drone entrepreneurship. If they want to own a drone entrepreneurship, what are the pros and cons of the industry?
Right. So drone in a remote area, as we made a mention about the fire and Himachal glaciers. So you will have it beyond line of sight control through satellites and terrestrial communication setup exclusively meant for drone purposes. And once that is in place, then you can have a control of a drone even round the earth. There is no problem. Not just like you have a remote control in your hand, and you are seeing a line of sight. That is only for learning purposes. So learning kit, you can order it and we will send it through, like it will come to you like a courier even during these days, and then you can do it yourself assembly, and then you will have certain softwares to learn. One of them is known as ROS, Robotic Operating System, which will help in drone navigation. And there are other softwares of image processing like OpenCV, and using Python scripts you can do data management and streaming of data to the cloud. As I mentioned, virtual network functionality. And drone and 5G are almost the same domains now. A drone can be thought of as a 5G UE or also 5G G node B. Therefore, all the more interesting for you to pursue drones, because the knowledge of drones has a positive impact on your knowledge of 5G and vice versa. Therefore, that is the best way to learn about drones. As 3GPP has standards pertaining to the drones in the release 17, and by using Dyna text of release 38, you will be able to know all the standards pertaining to the wireless drone implementations.
So there was a query regarding human sensors are used to run. In previous videos, we are used to seeing controlling the drone with remote. Now, why we are using human sensors? And about the battery life, can we charge the batteries of drones with solar panels?
Yeah, this is a good question. Let me add some new interesting thing which I missed out. Thanks for asking this question. There's a wonderful thing known as a tethering. Tethering is to give you in a cheaper manner, unlike the more sturdier ones where the duration of endurance of a drone is more than 24 hours, which we cannot afford. And but you can use a concept called tethering. It is like tying a cow to a field and it is moving around, and you just like a cow, it is flying in the sky and then observing for you. There you can enhance the endurance for as much time as you could, because the battery is continuously supplying to the drone, and that concept is known as tethering. And otherwise the battery is a very interesting battery management, and battery technology like lithium polymers is an exciting research area in itself. And solar is also, as I mentioned, a couple of pilots went around the world proving that they're able to sustain international journey on a solar paneled plane. And next revision will be without the pilot the drone can move. And already America in the 2000 they observed whereabouts of Osama bin Laden. Not many of us are aware of that details, but American secret files reveals that, and that has been kept in the open domain. And then in 2000 they observed a child's sling, indicating there is a baby around the Osama's. If you throw a bomb, it might kill a baby inadvertently. So they have come out with that idea of weaponizing the drone, and they sent the Navy SEALs who are very good in military maneuvers in a helicopter. It landed in the place where the building where he lives. They physically went inside the room, stormed and killed only one person, that is he. And that is the meticulous way the operation was done. So why I am narrating the story is um, drone industry has matured and they can perform. In fact, while doing that operation, there was a crash of one helicopter. If you know about the Osama's operation, that could have been averted if you use a drone. And now the technology exists to have drone carrying people also. In Abu Dhabi for 6 months, you just wish you want to go somewhere, press one button and book it. And just like Pushpak Vimana, one plane comes next to you, get inside, press that 4-digit number and relax. They do some yoga inside, that's all. You will reach the destination within that stipulated 20 kilometer and less than half an hour journey. There will be a skyport readily waiting to receive you. And all that has been successfully done without any single incidents. In all the 10 examples that you have seen, they are all tested very well. So there is no worry or fear about drones, whether they cause any problem. In fact, recently Pakistan airline, that the pilot came close to runway and he could not land properly. it touched some portion of wing or some portion of the fuel tank or something. Next time he's trying to land, he's under the landing gear was not operating, and he also had problems of engine, and then he crashed. So this that tells that drones have a great opportunity to step in and then play the major role in times to come.
So I'll wind up this session with last one more question, combining many things. Many of the participants are asking about can it be used under the ground, like in mines, below the under the water,
Okay,
in
so
coal mines?
let me actually tell in the same call of ours, there are researchers whom I invited, and there is a separate division of underwater drones that is known as autonomous underwater vehicles, AUV, autonomous underwater vehicle. It is a drone inside water, and Indian Navy has funds available. They always tell that funds are underutilized. Now that this question is asked, you think about creating a lab for underwater studies, and there have been challenges of finding low frequency HF antennas and loop aerials for underwater. If anybody has them, and we will buy them, and there is funding available from technology development and to the tune of 10 crores and beyond, and therefore a lot of opportunities to do research. And underwater drones are, yes, it is there. And also the robotic knowledge that you get controlling drones can be extended to on the ground robots also, that is known as unmanned ground vehicles also. So this is the benefit of learning drone technology. You will be expert in 5G, you will be expert in machine learning and image processing and big data analytics, and also in dealing with scenarios like underwater, on the ground, and the sky. So you are also helping defense industry for their armaments and augmenting their equipments.
Okay, so one last thing, will drones should be only manually operated, or that can be created as a autonomously vehicles? Can I use outspace drones for outspace research?
Yes, in fact, with permission from the government, first of all, your drone should be known to the government registry in the database. Secondly, you should seek permission from DGCA about your mission. What is your objective? And some exceptions are academic institutions where, like IISc Bangalore has vast land inside. They don't need to disclose because it is all for research purposes. So there are certain soft corners because they are not near to airport. IISc Bangalore is quite far away from airport, therefore that they are able to do that research. So you have to be aware that whatever you do, you don't encroach onto the privacy, safety, security of the people, and help mankind from aversion from dangers like fire and other accidents. And then as long as you are a law-abiding citizen and your work helps the mankind, it's a blessing in disguise. There are people who are saved, like 198 lives have been saved as per a previous slide using drones. So why not? You can use it for any device manufactured by humans can be used for good and bad. But as gentle people, we should always use our energies for the good of the mankind. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll wind up this because the time matters. I have almost covered all the questions from almost all the participants. Unanswered questions. Sorry for that. I like to wind up this question and answer session. Our principal, sir, Dr. K. Nageshwar Rao, sir, has joined us. I want sir to speak few words about this webinar. Principal, sir.
Yes, sir. Happy to see you, Dr. K. and Rao, sir. We
Yes,
always keep getting spiritual messages also from you, sir. I am honored, blessed to see you here.
Principal, sir, please share few words regarding this webinar, sir.
Sir, unmute. Yeah. Unmute, sir. Unmute.
Thank you, Kishore garu.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, though I joined very late, it was quite informative and inspiring. And you have thrown open the challenges of involved in this, which can be turned into opportunities vis-a-vis the upcoming technology. So in terms of academics and also in terms of applications and also research. So hope we will be able to use your expertise in the coming years, where we can work together to do something in this area, because we have a very good passionate teaching faculty, and also very young and dynamic head of the department. So, and we have also very good students. That's the most important strength of our college. So, and I have one question, sir. You mentioned about a drone, in medical drone, which is used in the application of vaccination. What exactly it does in the vaccination, this drone, sir?
Initially, I think they were distributing them those vaccines, not the real for the COVID-19, but prior to that, 2018, wherever people need vaccines, and some of the parts of the world are still not having access to that because of rural. So that's how from 2018 they have been using to distribute to difficult terrains where road or other trains, bus services are not good. And so, and then blood has been tried, and even life support organ delivery also by doctors, carefully designed systems. They were able to actually transport even a heart from a distance and then do the surgery there in a remote location.
And one more question, sir. What is the maximum, as of now, what is the maximum payload that it can handle? Uh, a
Yes,
drone
sir.
can handle now, as of now.
Yes, sir. The militaries have seen more than tons and tons of load, much more than aircraft loads also, because as I said, it's more matured than we know, because the drone industry has been successfully keeping all the knowledge as a closely guarded secret from the civilian world. But there is no limitation in terms of their ability to lift. Technology exists to lift unlimited quantity, as much as our military battalion tanks or big aircraft like object. As you could see, NASA's Global Hawk, it's like a very gigantic object. So they can lift number of tons of them and stay there for more than a day in the sky.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Before winding up the section, I like to thank, on behalf of Potti Sriramulu, Chalavadi, Mallikarjunarao, College of Engineering and Technology, Department of ACE, extend our thanks to all the participants. So really, we had an overwhelming response. About 1,500 plus participants registered with us, showed their active response. So I thank all the participants who made this event a very grand success. We sincerely thank our management for providing this opportunity to conduct the webinar. I extend my gratitude to Dr. K. Nageshwar Rao sir, Principal, PSCMR CET, who accepted and supported us to conduct the webinar. I extend my gratitude to Sri A T Kishore sir, who readily accepted our request and for sharing his profound knowledge. We sincerely thank our HOD, Dr. A. Ravi sir, for his continuous efforts and support in organizing any such kind of events in the department. We sincerely thank Dr. M.Ranga Rao sir, who taken the initiative of organizing the event and coordinating the whole event. We sincerely thank Mr. Sudhakar, IEEE Student Branch Counselor, PSCMR CET, for extending his support in organizing this event. We sincerely thank all the faculty of ECE, PSCMR CET for extending their support in all the times in conducting the event. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rangarao sir, for your speech as well. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi.
certificates will be issued to all the participants within 2 days. And I request all the participants to fill the feedback and attendance sheet. If you have submitted the form, certificates you will be receiving within 2 days. Give us time to send the certificates. You will be receiving your certificates within 2 days. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mahita.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Sir, can I say to end the call, sir, for the participants?
Yeah, and also let us thank the YouTube attendees. And think some of them were asking, I have not registered. How do I get certificate? I don't know how do we manage that. I have
Sir,
seen
without registration, we'll look into that, sir.
Okay,
If
fine.
feedback form is filled, I think they may get the certificate.
Sure.
But we'll look into that, sir.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Participants can end the call now. Thank you for all the YouTube listeners also. I have forgotten to make a note of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.